Call the meeting to order of the Ascension Parish Council, Thursday, October 18, 2007. Ms. Fontenot, would you lead us in a word of prayer and followed by the pledge? Please rise.
Father, tonight we come to you, as always, giving thanksgiving and praise and honor. And Father, tonight I want to make special petition on behalf of our friend, Mayor Brenda Melanson, that you would comfort her in this time of tragedy. And Father, we pray for our soldiers that are abroad, that you would get them home safely and quickly, that you would end the war, that you would bring liberty to those across the way. Father, as always, I thank you that you secure our gates and our borders with your glory. And I thank you tonight in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Berger, Councilman Savoy, Councilman Thompson, and Councilman Shake Snyder are absent with excuse. I was informed that Councilman McConnell, he's not here now, but he is on his way. He's a little late. He shall be joining us during the meeting. So, Ms. Patterson, you can so note when he does join the meeting, please. Move on to chair's additions. Any two-thirds additions tonight? Move now to public comment. Agenda item number 4. Anybody wishing to speak on any agenda item? I'm sorry. Okay, I am sorry. I do have that in front of me. Broadcast does have a request here. It's two-thirds, and this is an item actually we spoke at the finance meeting, and that has to do with approval of the professional services contract.
Motion to amend the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Hillsbeck, second by Councilman Fontenot to add to the agenda. We will add that right. I think that he is on the agenda already. And that might be under the finance report, I'm assuming. Is it A? 8?
8A.
Okay, it's actually 8A. It's actually on the agenda.
It's on the agenda? Okay.
8A. It's actually on the agenda already.
Yes, that's for something else.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, we'll put it as was 8A1. 8A1. Okay. Okay, we'll move on now. Anyone wishing to speak, and please approach the secretary and say, I'm sorry, was there any objections to that? No objection. Move now to presentations. Proclamation, Make a Difference Day, Volunteer Ascension. Miss Volunteer Ascension, Miss Boudreaux? Okay, would you like to read it, Ms. Patterson? You do so well reading those.
To proclaim Make a Difference Day in Ascension Parish, whereas serious social problems concern our nation and threaten its future, and whereas connecting with others and working together through volunteer services can bridge the difference that separate people and help solve serious social problems, and whereas we, the American people, have a tradition of philanthropy and volunteerism, and whereas millions of self-sacrificing individuals touched and enhanced the lives of millions on the 17th annual day of doing good by giving where there was a need, rebuilding what had been torn down, teaching where there was a desire to learn, and inspiring those who had lost hope. And whereas USA Weekend magazine and its affiliate newspapers and the Points of Life Foundation and its affiliate volunteer centers, including Volunteer Ascension, have joined to promote an annual National Day of Doing Good that celebrates and strengthens the spirit of volunteer service. And whereas volunteer service is an investment in the future we all must share, now therefore be it proclaimed, I, Ronnie Hughes, President of Ascension Parish, do hereunto proclaim Saturday, October 28, 2007, as Make a Difference Day in Ascension Parish.
Thank you.
Miss Audrey Boudreaux is here.
Ms. Audrey, Ms. Betty, you here? Mr. Pierce, I guess? Anybody else want to join?
Please. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Yes.
Thank you so much, President of the Chair, of the Council, George Valentine, and all of the councilmen. Our Make a Difference Day is in its 17th year, the National Make a Difference Day, and Volunteer Ascension has always been a part, since we started 10 years ago, of the Make a Difference Day program. Make a Difference Day is a national day of volunteering that challenges volunteers nationwide to spend time making a difference in the community and in the lives of others. Many volunteers come together for worthy projects like food drives or building wheelchair ramps, handrails, repairing things for the elderly impoverished, maybe beautifying, cleaning up streets or whatever. I know that lately we have a huge ditch. We always cut it ourselves in the front of our house, and it's got trash in it every morning when I wake up more and more. So that's a very worthy project for the volunteers, that you can get together with you, your family, your organization, and even just clean up a portion of your roadside or whatever that you have. So anyone who wants to do any of those projects can call Volunteer Ascension and register their project with Volunteer Ascension, and that will be publicized along with all of the national volunteers projects that are going on for Make a Difference Day, and that is on a Saturday, October the 27th, next Saturday. I've got so many dates going on right now. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Boudreaux. Okay, the election reminder, Mr. Pierce?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. President Hughes would like to state a little election reminder message. And ladies and gentlemen, in 2 days we get the opportunity and responsibility to exercise our constitutional right to vote for citizens to represent us in our government. I encourage you to carefully consider all the candidates and vote for the person you feel will best represent your position on major issues facing us today. Please go vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Okay, we'll move on now to agenda item number 7, consent agenda. Adopt the minutes of October the 4th regular meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd. Second by Mr. Martin McConnell, who has joined us, by the way, Ms. Patterson. Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Any opposition? So moved. Move now to committee reports. Finance Committee report in the absence of Mr. Councilman Barriga. Ms. Fontenot, I think you have that.
Thank you, Councilman Valentine. The Finance Committee did meet, and we have several items that have already been approved, and we just need motions. Item number A, approval of renewal of professional services contract with Sigma Consulting for recommendation from insurance consultant Harry Robert.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman McConnell, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Discussion? Any opposition? So moved. We'll have the 2/3 now. Roy, you want to come explain it, please? 2/3 is dealing with the, I think you have the information in front of you.
Good evening. Harry came tonight because we did get some final results on what our premiums are going to be for the coming year. And I'm still kind of in shock because it's going to really turn out good. But Harry, why don't you come? That's why we asked to get on this. So we
Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Fontenot, Councilman. Last week at the Finance Committee, we spoke about the renewal process, and I kind of expressed that I thought that we'd have good news this week. Well, we do. The company that insured us last year, Humana, the same benefits, offered us a renewed premium of 0% increase for the life, 0% increase for the dental, and 5% increase for medical. Now, if you remember last year, Humana offered us two different programs. They offered us a low $500 deductible PPO program, or our employees could have a choice of that or a consumer-driven high deductible plan with a $1,500 deductible. And the $1,500 deductible, was buddied up with an HSA, which is a health savings account. And the parish participated, for all the employees who chose this account, an amount of $100 toward the HSA. Well, we feel that probably this is one of the reasons why we're having such a favorable renew rate this year, because of the experience that we've experienced from this consumer-driven account. You have a little history in front of you which shows some of the premiums in the different companies that we were insured with over the last 12 or 14 years. And you'll notice that the average annual increase historically had been somewhere around 13 or 14%. So a rate of 5% is really unusual and something I think we all appreciate. Also, you'll notice back of the little sheet which shows the history, it has all the companies which we solicited, a total of 21 different companies. And we're also fortunate to have a lot of companies participate in the renewal process. We had some other favorable rates, that also would have been probably considered had not Humana come back with such a low increase. Okay. And the next page just gives you a comparison of all of the rates, the previous year rates with Humana and this coming renewal rates. And the last page just shows you a confirmation of our decision to ask you to allow us to renew the program this year with Humana. So because of the renewal rates and the satisfaction level, both of the company and the employees with the programs that we have, we recommend that we renew with Humana for the dental, the life, and the medical insurance. And then also along those same lines, the companies which provide us with our actuarial services, for the property and casualty insurance, also does the same with the life, dental, and the health insurance, which is Cigna actuarial companies. So we'd also request that you allow us to use them and continue using them next year.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We accept the recommendation of the consultant.
Moved by Councilman Hillsbeck, second by Councilman McConnell. Discussion, Mr. McConnell.
Just a question for discussion. We normally have a committee of employees from the various departments to look at all of this, and they've met and reviewed this, Mr. Robert, and so they concur with all of this.
Certainly have. And of course, Mr. Katz from the Human Relations Department is here to test that.
We made an effort this year to meet with them at least 3 or 4 times. Harry and his people, the insurance company Humana, would come in, and they were satisfied with the service. You're not going to get everybody 100% satisfied, but I can tell you, I used a high deductible, and it's tremendous. Harry had to beat me up for 2 years to convince me to even look at it. But while I have the mic, I just want to thank Harry and Barbara for the work they've done at his office, for Nicky Falsetta for the work he's done with us, because this is a tremendous undertaking when you start fooling with this insurance. And you ought to be dancing at a 5% because I feel ecstatic.
Yeah, all of you have done a good job on it.
Well, I have the floor, but that's all right. I know. I'm just a comment and a commendation. When we look at something that's a win-win situation, it's good for the parish and it's good for the employees and the workers as well. Then I don't see how we can go against this. It's a good job. Thank you very much, everyone involved.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Mr. Katz. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Any opposition? So moved. Ms. Fontenot, you'd be.
Okay, we have item B. It's approval to add Keith Crawford as an assistant district attorney. Need a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman McConnell. Discussion? Any opposition? So moved.
Item C is an approval to increase funding for ADA O'Neill Parrington. Need a motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Hillsbeck. Discussion? Any opposition? So moved.
Item D is an approval of 2 resolutions for the LCDB G grant for 2008 and 2009, the Hillerville Phase 2 project. Number 1 is an application for grant authorization to hire Roberta Macedo and Associates as grant administrator. Need a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Oliver Joseph, second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Discussion? Any opposition? So moved.
Item number 2 is an authorization to select engineering services. Ms. Martha Collins will explain that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. At the Finance Committee, we presented to the Finance Committee the 2 resolutions. On the second resolution, which is authorizing the selection of the engineering services, we are requesting, and it was recommended from the Finance, that we will go for a request for qualifications for the selection of the engineering firm. We will go through the process. The selection committee will be Bob Turner with DPW, Mr. Ron Siegler with the planning, and myself in grants. And at the November 1st, we will present back to the council the selection of the selection committee.
So this would be the authorization of that
Yes, sir.
process.
Right, that's correct.
Do
And
I have
need
a motion?
I so move, Mr.
Moved by
Chairman.
Councilman McConnell, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Discussion? Any opposition? So moved. Thank you, Ms. Collins.
Thank you.
Item number E is an approval to amend the task order for surveying services for the jail sewer project.
So moved, Mr.
We
Chairman.
just need a motion.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Discussion? Any opposition? So moved. That completes it, Ms.
That completes
Thank you
my
very
report.
much.
Thank you, yes.
Move now to agenda item number 9, Recreation Committee. Chairman Oliver Joseph.
Yes.
Councilman Joseph.
We got approval of a renewal of West Ascension Recreation Commission contract effective through the end of the year 2007.
Motion, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Moved by Councilman Dempsey Lambert, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Discussion. Councilman Joseph.
Also with that, we had to do an amendment to that contract, and we're pending that amendment based on legal opinion. And Mr. Ricky Bam, have that. Basically, they're just extending it to the end of the year, but we need to make the amendment. No.
I would also include that in my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Babin, are you familiar with the amendment here?
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm reading this, that the agenda item says approval of the renewal of the contract effective through the end of the year 2007, and then I was just given this amendment, which essentially says the same thing. So forgive my ignorance, but what are we voting on?
Well, I was just fixing to ask Mr. Joseph, is this amendment, was this passed through the Recreation Committee also? Is this add-on? Somebody needs to explain. Is this a recommendation coming from the Recreation Committee
No, this was
first,
a
right?
legal,
It expires on October 13th.
We're just giving them to the end of the year.
Just give them to the end of the year.
Okay, all
So
right.
the new council can address
I
it.
understand. Okay, all right.
So we don't,
So the motion is to extend the contract as amended by this
Through
amendment?
December
Okay.
31st.
Good. Okay, that's the motion by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Todd Lambert, right?
Correct.
Another
and a question,
Mr.
and we will reconsider the full contract later on in this term before the end of the year.
correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
That's it for recreation then.
Any any opposition to the motion? No opposition, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The Utilities Committee is listed, but there's nothing there. We'll move on to agenda item number 11, establishing the trick-or-treat time. Halloween is 31st, which is a Wednesday. Typically, the time is from 6 to 8, unless anybody objects to that. I think that's
I'll
what
make
the
that motion,
administration
Mr.
is
Chairman.
recommending. Moved by Councilman Hillensbeck, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any other discussion? Any opposition? So moved. Agenda item number 12, Muddy Creek Bridge. I have two speakers for this. First, Mr. Todd Email.
I'm considering buying a piece of property on Ducros. I'm seriously considering. And I dated somebody back there in like 2001. It flooded. And I was trapped out for like 5 or 6 days. And that's why I'm speaking on this, because I would like to see a bridge go put up and road raised. Excuse me. I'm shot. But my brother is living on Ducros right now, building a new house. He's also concerned about it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Travis Email. Mr. Email.
How you doing? My name is Travis Email. Yeah, I live back down Ducros Road, and I was coming to see if all y'all council members could get together and maybe see about raising that bridge, because every time the water comes up, we're trapped out back there. And I know, I watch y'all all the time, you know, the issue comes up about these T-turnarounds and cul-de-sacs so the fire truck can get out. But if we have a fire back there, the truck won't be able to get in, you know what I'm saying? And you'll need nothing short of a fire boat. So I wish y'all can get together and see if that gets done.
Thank you, Mr. Email. Okay, we'll move now to the agenda item, Mr. Hillensback.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this has been an issue that's been brought up. I think it was first studied in 1999 and first considered about raising the bridge at Muddy Creek. And the issue, again, is this. Like the gentleman said, Mr. Email said, when the water comes up, sometimes they're trapped in as many as 5, 6 days at a time. And, of course, that being the case, you can't get fire trucks back there, you can't get emergency ambulance vehicles back there, you cannot get law enforcement back there. And it's an issue unlike any other issue in the parish. We know of none other where water comes up and the people, the only route to get out is by bateau crossing the Swift Creek. In fact, we've had school children that have been catching the bus. They'd have to get out by bateau crossing the creek in order to catch the school bus to go to school when the bridge goes under. Now, go back to the July meeting, the Drainage Board meeting. This was on the Drainage Board agenda to build floodgate and pumps back there, and the people had clearly stated that they did not want to see a floodgate built because they were concerned about backwater flooding that possible floodgate or a dam, if you would cause from Manchac. So at that meeting, I guess I'd like to hand out to everyone. This is a news article. You take that, pass it across, Mr. Valentine. This is an article from the Advocate dated July 10th, and it's from the July 9th Drainage Board meeting. Finance Chairman Byerger, who is the Finance Chairman, he's quoted in the paper. Councilman Jared Byerger made a substitute motion to remove the floodgate and pumps from the project. He noted that the money for a new roadway and bridge is already in the Road and Bridge Fund, which is controlled by the Parish Council and not the Drainage Commission. And so I'm here tonight asking this council to consider, let's go ahead and let's raise that road and let's raise that bridge to help those people out. It's a serious situation for them. If anyone has a heart attack, anyone's house burns down, in a flood situation, I'm sure we can expect litigation, and the parish is going to be liable for not addressing this situation. So I'm just following the lead of the Finance Chairman, Byerger, who said, go get the money,
from the parish council because the money's in the road and bridge fund. So I'd like to make that motion that we go forward and we look at putting this, in fact, we don't look, but we put this in the next road project that's put together, and we raise that bridge finally on Muddy Creek. It's been an issue for about 30 years now. So I'd like to make that motion.
Moved by Councilman Hillsback,
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
second by Dempsey Lambert. Discussion. Mr. Todd Lambert.
Yeah, Mr. Hillsback, you stated that that was the only road in the parish that's like that people would get trapped because of high flooding. That's not true. I have two of them in my district, which is Summerfield and Lake Martin, both in the same situation. They get blocked in for days. The only way they can get out is by boat. To start off with, by approving this, we don't have any dollars amount in front of us. We're looking at, maybe $2 million to raise this bridge. If anybody from DPW could have some numbers on this by raising, we're already doing the road project. The road project is on the books already, if I ain't mistaken, to resurface the road. But the bridge itself, I think we're looking at a $2 million price tag, and I'm not sure if we have that in the budget or capability.
Currently in the budget from previous years, and I've asked that it be put in again this year for 2008. It's a little over $800,000. It's my understanding, I don't have a figure on the cost of raising the bridge and raising the road. There's very little reason to raise the bridge if you don't get the road out of the water also. So it needs to be a combination of road and bridge, but my guess is that it's in excess of $2 million to do that. And we have basically a little over $800,000 in the budget.
And I also think that we have put some money in this budget before the last few years for some matching funds for some grant money that I don't know whatever happened to the grants on these particular roads. But I think it was about $500,000 that we have put up for matching grants, but I don't think that ever took place. But to say, $2 million, I can't go that, not, especially it's setting a precedent. We got several other places that flood just as bad as this, and we're going to have to come back behind it and do these roads also. The road that I'm talking about in Summerfield is going to have to be built up at least 5-6 foot also. Lake Martin's the same way. They're trapped, same situations. So, I can't support it as of yet because we don't have the budget. Ms. Gwynn's here. She can maybe tell us where could we find 2-point-something million in the budget for this, without, if we're going to approve it tonight, that's a lot of money that hadn't been figured in yet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Fontenot.
This is something that we really need to review at the Transportation Committee and discuss. And one of the things, Mr. Bob, I would like to see is that we do identify if there are other situations like this. And we would really need to have you rate those situations. And also we would need to know where it would come from, the funds, et cetera. And I would definitely say that if anybody has this type of road situation in their area, there should be a plan B. Because even if we went forward today, a rain could come tomorrow. You have to have a plan. So I would hope that there is a plan, another plan, to deal with this situation and situations like that. We really need to have them all addressed and identified. Thank you.
I guess I'd like to refresh everyone's memory. Early on, I suggested that we do a priority list of all these projects around the parish, and that we prioritize them, and we start working them off. And that was the year 2004 when we took office. And here we are, we're still talking about like situations around the parish. Now, I'm not real familiar with the Lake Martin area, but I do know for a fact in Summerfield, in fact, one of my very good friends back there, Mr. Bo Mathern's got a four-wheel drive, high four-wheel drive. He says he's always able to get the people in and out of that four-wheel drive, so it's a little bit different. You can't do that over at Muddy Creek where everybody has to take a boat in swift water. So I'm just saying that there is $830,000 in the budget. It's not in the budget the full $2 million like Mr. Byberger indicated. Now, we were willing to spend $2 million of the taxpayers' money to go build a floodgate and a pump that really wasn't going to work, because I don't know, I guess we was going to pump the water back into Body Manchac, and we was going to flood Councilman Dempsey Lambert's district, Idle Hour, and flood everybody that lives along Body Manchac, because you're going to elevate the water on Body Manchac. But it looks to me like if we were willing to do the project that the people didn't want, a floodgate and pumps, that somehow or another we could get together and we could come up with the additional $1.2 million that we now need to raise this road and raise this bridge. And all I'm saying is, I'm making a motion tonight that we're going to work toward that effort, and the next time we do a road project or a bond issue, we're going to put this bridge in there and this road, and we're going to fix this problem once and for all. It's been going on, I guess, for about 30 years back there. So that's my motion.
Mr. Lamb?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate all the discussion, but I think what we need to do is just prioritize these roads. I feel Mr. Emails, I met with him at his house. He's building a nice home. He's following all of our permits. He's doing everything right. But if a fire or something breaks out back there, he has no way to get no one to put the fire out. And we just need to prioritize these roads. I have no problem going to Summerfield next. But this has been studied through committee. This has been studied everywhere. We need to raise the bridge. I'd appreciate the support. We share this district. Me and Mr. Hillensbeck, I have a lot of elderly folks on my side. So it's kind of hard getting them in and out. So I'm going to support the motion. So let's prioritize and move on to the next road, raise it, and help the people of the parish.
Mr. McConnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I concur with that. Just because there are a couple of other roads in the parish that need this done is not a valid argument why we shouldn't do this. This has been on the list. It's been discussed. It has been brought up. And so we have 3 roads to do right now that have this same problem. If we proceed with this project, then we'll have only 2 roads that have this problem. And then we can deal with that next road, and then we'll have only 1 road. So I don't think that we should not do this project just because there are other roads that need doing. You can only do 1 road at a time, especially when it's of this magnitude. So I'm going to support this as well. We move forward. No, the statement, as much as it pains me to say, just because it's written in the newspaper does not make it so. But it pains. But even though the statement was made that the money's in the budget, the money is not in the budget. But we do need to proceed forward. We do need to prioritize this task, get the money allocated into a future budget, and get this project done. I'm going to support the motion as well.
Hey, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, just one last comment. And all Mr. McMillan was doing was reporting what was said at the meeting. John, you were doing your job. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yeah, Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, if I could address this to Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob, when we first started talking about Muddy Creek, we talked about a hydraulic study to see whether or not by raising this road it would cause a dam to keep the water from flowing and cause some people upstream some more flooding issues. None of that has ever been brought back to us. Would you, as an engineering background...
I'm sorry, I can't address that at all. I've never looked at the hydraulics on Muddy Creek.
Right now the water flows over the road. Now, if we build a road and bridge up, it's going to cause a dam to some effect. That's going to cause some water to not get out, which could cause some upstream
If you build
flooding.
the road above the high water line and level, that means that all of the flow has to go through the bridge opening. And so the bridge opening has to be adequate to handle that. And otherwise, it'll back the water up and will act as a dam. But I'm assuming that when you talk about raising the bridge, actually what you're talking about is reconstruction of the bridge. The existing bridge is not adequate, so You would take that bridge down and you would construct another bridge that would achieve the hydraulics that you're needing. However, your East Ascension Drainage Board, I think, has studied that, and I haven't. So I would rely on their calculations as to what the size of the bridge should be.
So as of right now, we don't, we saying here tonight that we're going to go ahead and move forward with this bridge. We don't have any numbers, no studies in front of us, no cost whatsoever. We're talking a bridge that might have to be something similar to Port Vinson. Because it's a long stretch of waterway that floods right there. So that's one of my, we got to do a little bit more work on this before we give an open checkbook, for a bridge that we don't know what it's going to cost.
Ms. Fonda.
I remember the parish president was the one that first brought up the fact that there were many more situations like this in Ascension Parish. This is an administrative issue. It has not been dealt with. We now have a new director, and we need to give that new director some time to get us the proper information for us to make the proper decision. I will not support this tonight. I will have Mr. Turner address it at our Transportation Committee in November, if you will. Thank you.
That's all I got. Any other discussion?
I call for question on the motion,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
We'll vote. Any opposed to the motion?
I'm opposed right now.
Mr. Lambert is opposed, and Ms. Fontenot is opposed. For the votes, motion fails for lack of 6. We'll move on to agenda item number 14, since number 13 is skipped. LA Highway 930 resolution. Mr. Hillenbeck.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 years ago, I met with Representative Lambert. In fact, it was the same day that they cut the ribbon on the Walmart in Prairieville. And Representative Eddie Lambert was gracious enough to go meet with me on Highway 930. And we examined the road to determine just exactly, we measured the road so I could show him how narrow Highway 930 was just south of Prairieville School. We did the tape measure, and the tape showed a measurement of 16 feet and 6 inches, which is just ridiculous for a state highway. And so Representative Lambert immediately went to work on that issue, and he put it in the capital outlay program with the state. And guess what? It finally passed. Before you have a copy of the letter dated September 26, 2007, to Secretary Johnny Bradbury, and he's referencing House Bill 3, Louisiana 930, lines 20 to 25, pages 25 of 176. And it's a very brief letter. I'll go ahead and read it. It says, Dear Secretary Bradbury, this letter is a formal request that the Department requests the $500,000 in Priority 2 for the engineering and reconstruction for Louisiana Highway 930. Louisiana Highway 930 is a very narrow, non-federal aid road located in Ascension Parish. Prairieville Middle School is located on this road, and there are a number of vehicles and school buses which use Highway 930. Highway 930 is so narrow that school buses can barely pass each other. We are requesting that DOTD move forward with this project and expand this road as soon as possible. Currently, the project is listed in House Bill 3 on page 25, line 20, paragraph 880. Please let this letter serve as our request for the Department to contact the Commissioner of Administration to place this matter before the bond commissions. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Eddie Lambert. And what Eddie suggested was that this body pass a resolution in support of his letter. And Suzanne did put together a resolution. Suzanne, would you read the resolution, please?
Therefore, be it resolved that the Ascension Parish Council also respectfully requests the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to expedite the Louisiana Highway 930 reconstruction project.
And I'd like to make that motion.
Mr. Hillenbeck moves for the resolution, second by Ms. Fontenot. Any other discussion? Any opposition to the resolution? Surely there is none. Thank you, Mr. Hillensback. Move now to agenda item number 15, Crisair and Associates Incorporated contract. Has my name on this, but I think this was a past president's suggestion at the last meeting. We placed it on the agenda for deliberation tonight. So, Chair will recognize a motion. Mr. McConnell.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. In light of the fact that Mr. Crisair has taken full-time employment with the Louisiana Department of Highways, and in light of the fact that we have not called upon Mr. Crisair's services for at least the past year under this contract, then I would like to offer a motion that this contract not be renewed.
Moved by Councilman McConnell, second by Councilman Todd Lamont. Discussion. Any opposition to the motion?
Nay.
Mr. Joseph? Mr. Lambert?
Mr. Chairman, I abstain.
Mr. Hillensback abstains. Therefore...
And I got a statement. Just like
hang on.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hang on. Any other in the motion? You can't make one right now.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Joseph opposes. Mr. Lambert opposes. Mr. Hillensback has abstained. Okay. Motion fails because it's a lack of 6. All right, we'll move on. Agenda item number 16, introduction of ordinances. Mr. Babin, I'm going to need you behind my ear here. I'll approach the bench, please.
Yes, sir.
Excuse us for a second, Council. That's correct. That's correct. I got you. Okay, we'll move on now to induction of an ordinance authorizing the Parish of Ascension to accept a donation of real property from Manchac Development, LLC. Mr. Babin. Mr. Babin.
This is approximately a 14-acre tract located near Manchac Plantation subdivision. It's a tract of land that was donated in January. The developers wanted to get it off their name on the last tax year. It never was formally accepted by this council. You passed a motion approving the donation some time ago. We never did the ordinance. This is simply a cleanup measure.
Mr. McConnell.
A question, Mr. Bam, is this developable property or is it wetland property that we can use to mitigate other areas?
It was donated with the intent for recreation. The Recreation Department is the one that negotiated the donation, asked for the donation, and wants to use the donation. Whether or not it is wetlands under the Wetlands Act and can be used for mitigation purposes, I haven't seen a wetlands determination on it.
But it is usable property for recreation purposes or what have you.
My understanding it is, but I am not sure whether or not you would have to get a permit from the Corps to use that property, depending on what you wanted to do with it, I would assume. But I understand there is some usable land on the site.
There is usable land on the site. Then I move to introduce the ordinance.
Move to introduce by Councilman McConnell, second by Councilman Hillensback. You second? Okay, Council, discussion. Mr. Hillensback.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is property that's located off of Manchac Acres Road, and for Mr. McConnell's information, it is a flood retention area, a good portion of it, but a lot of it is usable. In fact, it's already been designated to be Cotton Bayou Park. Cotton Bayou runs through the center of it. And the type recreation that the recreation director is talking about having there is frisbee golf, walk trails, and maybe even doggy trails. You know, a lot of people don't have any place to take their animals, their pets. So you'd be able to use it except in times of flood when the high water comes up. So that's the understanding that I have on this. Ms. Fontenot, Mr. Joseph, they want to add. We've talked about this several times in the Recreation Committee. And so it is a good donation of usable property. Thank you.
Mr. Babb, I do have a question since we're in a discussion point. Is this the original or is this an additional amount of land? Because we've already taken this agenda item almost a year ago. And my understanding, because Ms. Cheryl with the Recreation had called me to put this on the agenda and said this was additional land that they would donate to us.
Right, I think you're
It
right.
is right?
Yeah, it was
I think-
17 acres originally. I think this is an additional
This is
13
some
acres to
additional,
make the
do
total
you
tract
have amount on it?
30 acres.
With the total tract, but the original, if you recall, there was a mistake. Originally, the land was called a lot larger than it was. The legal description of the original transaction was much smaller in size than I think than you were told the agenda had.
Right. Okay, so how much is the acreage on this particular property?
This particular piece of land is 13.4 acres.
Okay. We're going to double check that. We will accept this tonight. We're certainly not going to do anything else, but I'm almost positive we already accepted another certain amount of acreage, and this is abuts up to it. You have some information, Miss Collins?
Ms. Kitchen asked me to,
I just want to make this clear that what we're doing.
the only thing I have, and Vicki, I might need your help on here, that this was Cotton Bayou Park, and there was 30 acres that was included in that.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we already got 17, so.
That's my understanding.
That is too, so I think this makes 30. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and accept this 13 tonight, and then we're going to double check to make sure we got that other 17. All right, any other discussion on this? Any opposition to the motion?
The documents transferring the property, the first donation, have been done.
Okay.
It is in the clerk of court, titled in this parish's name.
Okay.
That's been done.
Okay, I got you.
I have not done a title transfer of any additional property.
Okay, all right.
All I can tell you is the one I've done.
Okay,
The one I've
all right.
done was the original tract a year ago, less than a year ago, 10 months ago, and that tract is the only thing that's been transferred and put into the name of the parish position amount.
Okay, and I think this is an additional, that's why it's an introduction. I think she's coming with another one, so we'll go ahead and introduce it. Any other discussion? No opposition? So moved. Thank you, Mr. Babin and Ms. Collins, for that information. Agenda item number 17, introduction of an ordinance amending the 207 budget and appropriating the 208 budget. Parish President Ronnie Hughes, CAO Moose Pierce.
Yeah, this is just a formality, just an introduction of the ordinance.
We need to introduce it as Ms. Gwen has told us, and then we will have public hearing and all at our November meetings. So I am.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Dempsey Lambert. Second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any discussion? Any opposition? Ordinance is introduced. Agenda item number 18, introduction of an ordinance creating the Bullion Crossing PUD. Legal counsel, Ricky Babin. Mr. Babin?
You don't have to read an ordinance to introduce it. If you want me to, I will.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Moved by Councilman Fontenot, second by Councilman Todd Lammett. Discussion. Any opposition to the motion? No opposition. Motion is introduced. Move now to the part of public hearings and ordinances. 19, a public hearing, Section 8 Rental Assistance Program Annual Agency Plan. Roberto Macedo. Roberto?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. A brief background to this public hearing. On August the 28th, the parish published a notice informing the citizens of Ascension that an agency plan for the Section 8 Rental Assistance Program was available for review. On October the 12th, we published a notice of this public hearing to receive comments on the review of that agency plan. The agency plan outlines the procedures by which the Section 8 rental assistance is implemented. So at this time, the floor would be open for any questions from the public.
Motion to open public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lammett to open the public hearing, second by Councilman Joseph. Any opposition to that? Public hearing is now open.
Motion to close.
No one wishing to speak? Councilman Todd Lammett moves to close the public hearing, second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any opposition to close the public hearing? No opposition. The public hearing is now closed. Thank you, Mr. Roberto. Move now to agenda item number 20, public hearing to consider an ordinance amending ordinances adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on February the 6th, 2006, and July 5th, 2007, to insert the correct VIN numbers for 2 dump trucks. Mr. Babin.
These are not new dump trucks. These are the same dump trucks you have. It's just that the title, the state, the VIN numbers, I didn't crawl under the motor myself and check the VIN numbers, but we needed to amend 2 ordinances adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on February 6, 2006 and July 2007 respectively, one transferring 2 international 6-yard dump trucks to the city of Donaldsonville and another to correct the aforementioned ordinance to insert the correct vehicle identification number. Ordinance serves to insert the proper description and vehicle identification number of one of the vehicles that was subject to the original transaction, whereas the Parish of Ascension, through the Ascension Parish Council, under lawful session, passed an ordinance on the 2nd day of February authorizing the conveyance of 2 international 6-yard dump trucks. The ordinance provided that one was a 1997 international 6-yard dump truck bearing VIN 1HTSCABR7VH491230 and one 1999 international 6-yard dump truck bearing VIN one HTS-CABR82H552354. The ordinance further provided that both these vehicles were transferred to the city of Donaldsonville on terms and conditions set forth in the cooperative endeavor agreement attached to that document. Whereas one of the vehicles is incorrectly described as a 1999 international 6-yard dump truck, but was in fact a 2002 international 6-yard dump truck bearing VIN 1HTS-CABR82H552355. Now is the intent of the Ascension Parish Council in it for to correct this error as follows. Be it ordained that the Ascension Parish Council does hereby authorize the sale, conveyance, and transfer with the right, title, and interest of one 2002 international 6-yard dump truck bearing VIN 1HTS-CABR82H552355 to the city of Donaldsonville, as is, without warranty of any kind, under the terms and conditions set forth in the cooperative endeavor agreement attached thereto. Be it further ordained as intended by the Parish Council that the cooperative endeavor agreement is hereby amended to reflect the correct vehicle identification number in that document.
Motion to open the public hearing, Mr.
Moved by
Chairman.
Councilman Todd Lambert to open the public hearing. Second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any opposition? Public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please approach the secretary and sign in. You'll have 3 minutes.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lambert has, Todd Lambert has moved to close. Second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Any discussion? Public hearing is now closed.
Move on ordinance, Mr.
We'll
Chairman.
move now on the ordinance. Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert. Second.
I'll second it, Mr.
Second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any opposition to the ordinance? No opposition? So moved. Let's hope we don't see those fire trucks ever again. We'll move now to planning and zoning recommendations. Agenda item number 22, zoning review ID 1795.07 to rezone from medium intensity residential RM to Crossroads Commercial for Raymond R. Liato and Judy Liato, located on the south side of LA 42, approximately 525 feet northeast of Rosemont Drive, to rezone from medium intensity residential to Crossroads Commercial. This is to accept or deny.
Mr. Valentine,
Yes.
we don't have that in our packet, any of these items. Any of the planning and zoning stuff, we have none of the, nothing with the recommendations.
They went out separately the same day as that by mail.
You did probably receive those as a packet, separate packet, and it was marked Planning and Zoning Department. Yes.
Did it come through the mail, or was
Yes,
it
it came through
delivered?
the mail.
We did not send, it was not included in your package that we sent to you, but we were told that it would be hand-delivered to you. That's what I was.
Okay, so it was not hand-delivered, it was sent to you in the mail.
Sometimes I get mail items 2 weeks late. I'm sorry, but that's facts. I don't have this.
Okay,
This is the, if I,
these properties are the ones, if you will remember, that we moved on, and we were given the wrong information as far as whether the planning and zoning had accepted or approved or denied. And so, if you remember, and I'm sure you do, that is what we have in front of us now. Do we have some extra copies dealing with this, Mr. Ziegler? Who else does not have the information? Mr. McConnell, Mr. Hillensback? Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
I'd like to offer a motion that we defer items 22 through 28 until the next council agenda, and please have us all provided with that, hand-delivered that information. And also that when this council is delivered stuff, that it comes through the parish secretary's office, that the secretary delivers to this council.
26, 22 through 27, not 28.
Yeah.
Thank you. 28.
22 through 27.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Hillensback. We alter our agenda. Do not take up these items and move them to the next agenda, next meeting. Any opposition to that motion? Any discussion on it first? Any opposition? So moved. We will move 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27 to our regular meeting in November. That means we don't have anything on Point Homeless either, right? Okay. We'll move now to the agenda item number 28, which is the presidential veto in accordance with the Charter of Ascension Parish, Article 3, Section 3-04, that being to rescind the motion as adopted by Ascension Parish Council on October the 4th, 2007, in regards to the motion adopted to renew 2007-2008 URS contract for 1 year for a fee not to exceed $600. Excuse me, $600,000. Seeing that there are only 7 council members here, essentially this is a moot point also. So essentially the veto is not overridden and it is upheld.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, yes,
Point of order.
Councilman Hill.
I would like for the CAO to read the veto message so that the public will
Sure.
understand why the president this issue.
I think he did send a message. And
Yes,
the
if you don't
CAO
mind, I
can read it.
appreciate that. I think the public ought to hear
CAO.
it.
Okay, this was issued on October 11th, 2007, the veto message, and it says, I have vetoed the actions taken by the Parish Council on Thursday, October the 4th, 2007, as recommended by the Transportation Committee regarding the renewal of the engineering contract with URS for the following reasons. When this contract was originally approved, it was based on URS providing services to the Department of Public Works as an extension to their staff, primarily to assist DPW with technical evaluation, coordination, and management. Their contract was not to provide services typically handled by the engineers of record assigned to respective projects. The inclusion of these services in their contract represents scope creep and does not represent the best interests of the parish. Furthermore, the parish's experience on the 2 projects in which this was allowed to take place has presented major problems and time delays, including the creation of much bureaucracy to an already time-consuming process. It has allowed for much finger-pointing when problems and delays have occurred and brings into question the assignment of liability and responsibility. The recommendation of the Transportation Committee does not represent what is typically found in the industry, but rather the exception. The recommendation proposed by the Public Works Director represents a fair and equitable arrangement for the utilization of the services of URS and reinstates their road to what was previously established by the administration and council. Furthermore, I will not support any measures which do not result in more efficiency in government, creates more bureaucracy, inefficiency, and wasteful spending of the taxpayers' money, does not reduce the cost of government, or does not increase the basic services provided by the government to the taxpayers. The measure proposed by the Transportation Committee does not meet any of these criteria. Finally, as for the Fox watching the hen house correlation offered by the members of the council in an attempt to justify the arrangement, how do they explain to the taxpayers of this parish the financial failure of the last two road projects handled by this arrangement. URS's contract was signed on October the 7th, 2004. Work on the 2004 road improvements project began on July the 1st, 2004, and was completed on March the 30th, 2007. The 2005 road improvements project began on July the 26th, July the 12th, 2006, and is not completed as of this date. On the 2004 project, the Transportation Committee recommended and the Council approved a substantial reduction in the scope of work on the project in order to offset cost increases in order to keep the project in budget. At the conclusion of the project, once again the Transportation Committee recommended and the Council approved a change order in the amount of $249,000, increasing the construction cost to correct additional problems with workmanship on the project. On the 2005 project, this identical situation occurred again, this time resulting in a $500,000 reduction in the scope of work to be done on the project and a $355,000 change order, increasing the construction cost to further address deficiencies encountered during the construction of this project. Based on my discussions with various parties associated with the 2005 project, another change order further increasing the construction costs on this project can be expected. Change orders costing the taxpayers of the parish in excess of $1.055 million on two projects is not acceptable and must not be allowed to continue. Therefore, I stand by the recommendation presented by the Public Works Director and urge the Council to act expeditiously in order that we can put this issue behind us and allow for the much-needed road improvements in our parish to move forward. Furthermore, only the cost of these recommendations is included in the 2008 budget. Respectfully, Ronnie Hughes, President, Ascension Parish.
Ms. Fonda.
I too came prepared tonight for this veto. When the council chose 2 weeks ago to move projects forward and to make sure that engineers given projects would not inspect their own work, they gave URS, an independent engineering contractor, a contract to do inspections. The vote was 10 in favor and only 1 opposed. This veto is a vote to stop all road improvements in the parish until the first of the year. It is a political stunt to prepare the way for more corruption and waste in our parish. Again, the people do not get served and the projects do not get done. URS was brought on board in 2004 by the parish president. I voted in favor of this independent contractor in an effort to work with his administration. When the fox is not guarding the hen house, the work gets done in a timely and cost-effective manner.
Excuse me, Ms. Fontenot. Please note Mr. McConnell just left the meeting, please.
3 council members must change their votes in order to make this veto stick. I ask the people to take notice of those that do. It is time to stop playing political games and do what is right for Ascension Parish. The council has fought over one engineering firm for the last 8 years. Why? Because we want the work done. Because we want the roads done. People are out there stuck in traffic while 203 turn lane projects are still on the table. Road widening projects dating back to 201 are still incomplete. And bridges that should have been fixed before the school season began in August are still not done. Some council members want to give an opportunity in the next administration for the same engineering company to be given more work. It's time to get rid of the good old boys. I'm going to tell you why the 204 project, URS was not given the task by administration. Administration did not task them to supervise the 204 road project. They came after the fact. 206 road project sat in administration because we had no engineer on staff and we had no director. Our own public works director told us just a couple of meetings before that he doesn't have the staff, he doesn't have the certified staff to do the road inspections in-house. He also told us that he would be building that. But meanwhile, we have $13 million that this council approved in road projects. It's time to get the roads done. We've approved them. Let's get the work done. I don't think that we should hold up this contract. To hold up their contract is to hold up the progress of Ascension Parish. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Mr. Hillensback.
Just like to go back to Mr. Parish President, Mr. Hughes' comment. He said that, based on my discussion with various parties associated with the 2005 project, another change order further increasing the construction cost on this project can be expected. Well, I got to looking into that, and I got a copy of a change order request dated yesterday, and it's a change order that we're going to be taking up soon, and that's another $600 and something thousand, $628,980. You might say $629,000. That's going to go on top of the $850,000 that we already approved on the 05 road project. So it just seems like there's no end, and we've got record level change orders coming forth where we never had that in the history of the parish in the past, before we were hiring all these outside engineer firms. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, Mr. Bob, I'm hearing, change orders coming to us, maybe because who's the fault, whether it's engineering or whether or not it's something undetected when they looked at the project. And we're having a lot of problems for the last 30, 40 years here in Ascension Parish with fluoride. So is this an engineering error with these change orders, or is it a problem that has not been found until they got onto the project?
I have not seen a change order that Mr. Hillenbeck...
Myself, I hadn't seen it also.
I haven't seen that. As to whether or not there was engineering errors in the design or whether there were errors during the construction, I can't really say. I'll be honest with you. I've been working very hard to get the 2007 programs out. The 2005 was on its last wrap-up when I arrived. It's still trickling out. The big change order that I'm familiar with occurred back in November, December of last year, related to the floor light. I didn't look into that in detail as to what the reasons were. There was 6 to 7 months prior to my coming here, and so I can't answer your question, nor can I speak to the change order that Mr. Hillenbeck talks about.
I'd just like to think, let's be fair here. We're attacking an engineering firm, or engineering, which it might not even be an engineering problem. So it's not fair to address an engineering change order when it may not be. So, and we don't know that as we sit here tonight.
I got a comment.
Yes, Mr. Hillensback.
Yeah, like I say, I've been hearing for some time now that we were going to be getting this change order, and I'm just going to read the first few lines of the letter from the contractor. It says, as you are aware, the fiscal year 2005 roadway reconstruction project has been completed with the exception of Woodland Avenue. As you may also be aware, the contract time for this project has been exceeded as there have been significant delays due to scope changes caused by the incompetence of the professionals in charge of overseeing this project. In our opinion, these delays could have been resolved in a much more timely fashion. However, the professionals overseeing the project elected to prolong these delays in an attempt to avoid conflict with the parish council. So that's from the contractor himself. And like I say, I asked for it and got it, and I mean, that's what the contractor says about the professionals involved. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Fontenot.
I just wanted to state this. Mr. Hillensbeck must have some very special contacts. I have met and sat down at lunch with the contractor. I requested a timeline from the day the project began. I'm still waiting for that timeline.
Okay. I guess the only thing, like I said, the veto is upheld. The URS contract, in my estimation, because of this, is not renewed, and it ran out October 6th. So I'm assuming all work projects will stop because of the process, since we don't have anything in place to deal with it. But that is something that URS will have to work out with administration to see exactly what takes place. So as far as I'm concerned, we have no guidance as far as what to do. We'll have to do it at the next meeting. The past president did send me an email saying that if we did this and if we did that, we'd have to do this, but none of that is on the agenda, so it won't be taken up. I do have two mentions here. One is you have with you, Councilman, you have a needs assessment that was given to you, that was done on mental health by Robert Rhodes. I think, Ms. Z, y'all got the presentation of this today at 5 o'clock, so you have your copy. It's an extensive needs assessment that was done. It's a very good report from what I had heard. You also have with you, via Ms. Gwen LeBlanc, the 208 budget, which we introduced tonight, so you have that, which you make sure you take that home tonight. I do have one more piece of business that I will let you know just for information-wise. I am going to have to call a special meeting next week. It will more than likely be on Tuesday. I will give you the definite tomorrow to check my schedule on this, but I got a note from our assessor, Ms. Renee Michel, and when the special election was held on Lighting District 7 on September the 30th, 2006, whereas the 5 mil 10-year and ad valorem tax was renewed. For whatever reason, something was posted incorrectly. On July 19, 2007, the Parish Council adopted the millage rate the ordinance for the tax year of 2007. In this ordinance, millage for the lighting district was listed incorrectly as 5.01 mils, and it's necessary for the council to readdress this ordinance. So I will have to call that because she cannot get her work done as the end of the year approaches, and so we will have to take care of this. It will be a 5-minute meeting, and I certainly would love to have enough people to do this. So I will be issuing that tomorrow, and Ms. Patterson will be getting in touch with you. Okay? Tuesday. Any other comments? If not, motion to adjourn by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Ms. Fontenot. Motion, we stand in adjournment.